What's up everyone, welcome to Ashley Talks Movies. Today's video is a review of Back in Action. It's a new action comedy from Netflix and it's directed and co-written by Seth Gordon, whose previous work includes Baywatch movie from 2017, Identity Thief, and Horrible Bosses. Back in Action stars Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz as Matt and Emily, two spies who decide to leave the world of espionage behind to start a family. But 15 years and 2 kids later, their suburban life is disrupted when their cover is blown and they're pulled back into the spy game. Before I jump into the review, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any of the videos I post here on the channel.
Go.
Did you see what we just did?
Back in Action is the type of action flick that's become pretty standard for a lot of these streaming services. It's a movie that's anchored by 2 big stars, and the plot and pretty much everything else about the movie is pretty formulaic. Now, there are many successful action comedies that have plots that are more or less forgettable, but they make up for it with humor, great action scenes, interesting characters, and great chemistry and/or camaraderie between its leads. Unfortunately, Back in Action doesn't really get close to doing any of those things well. As far as comedy goes, Back in Action is pretty unfunny, with the exception of maybe 2 moments in the movie that made me laugh out loud. And that's because many of the jokes don't land or seem like they were borrowed from a movie from the early 2000s. And when it comes to the action, it's kind of a mixed bag. Some action scenes are actually pretty good and really look like Foxx and Diaz are kicking butt and having fun. And then there are other scenes that are just poorly choreographed or poorly edited or heavily CGI. And so what you're left with is the actors, via their characters, having to do a lot of the heavy lifting. And even they can't elevate this movie beyond being pretty boring and bland. Now, Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz, I like both of them as actors, and I think they're both very talented. Together, though, at least in this movie, they do not have the chemistry needed to pull it off. Now, they play a married couple and they don't really have any romantic chemistry. The banter and the interactions between both of them come across more like work buddies who are catching up after not seeing each other for a long time. And that might have worked in a different movie, but it just doesn't fit with this movie. And you have some other really big actors in this movie. You have Kyle Chandler, who plays Matt and Emily's boss, who warns them that their cover has been blown. And you also have Andrew Scott as an MI6 operative who has feelings for Emily, but both don't really get much to do, although Scott is particularly shortchanged. And then you have Glenn Close, who plays Emily's estranged mother, and she's really probably one of the best things about this movie. She brings some much needed life to the movie, but she's really the exception here. One of the big selling points about this movie, one of the big marketing pushes around this movie, has been that this was the movie that got Cameron Diaz to return to acting. You know, she hasn't been in a movie in about 11 years. In fact, the last movie that she was in was 2014's Annie, which also coincidentally starred Jamie Foxx. And so when you watch Back in Action, you can't help but wish that this had been a stronger movie. And there's a lot of this movie that could have worked. It had a lot of potential, but it just doesn't rise above being sort of a paint by numbers action flick that just does like the lowest effort with everything, with the characters, with the action, with the plot. And so unfortunately, a lot of the actors aren't really given much to work with, and they can't really make this movie anything more than what it is, which is just kind of this, generic standard action flick. And that's pretty unfortunate. So anyway, those are my thoughts on Back in Action, which is now streaming on Netflix. Have you watched the movie? If you have, share your thoughts in the comments. While you're here, like and subscribe and stick around for more videos like this.